Hi, I'm Darren, an untrained amateur who's determined to save one of the last of these classic cars. This is Roy, a 45-year-old 2.8 litre Vauxhall Royale coupe. When I owned one 30 years ago, they were rare. Now they're unknown. This is one of the last of its kind, and I'm going to rescue it and relive my youth. Follow the rebuild, watch this legend come back to life. Right, morning everyone. Today we're going to build the cylinder head. I've been at it about 2 hours so far. Not on the cylinder head, but just pottering around doing other things like tidying up and putting more paint on the garage floor. So I've done 2 hours worth, and I haven't really done anything mechanical at all yet. So we'll build the cylinder head. We've also got these bushes to look at. So this has been sitting overnight, this bush. So this is one of the engine mounts, and it was my idea to drill down into it and flood it with high strength rubber. It has gone off, and it appears in part to have done what I wanted it to do. So yeah, it's moving back in the direction where they've sunk, where the engine was sitting, but it is a lot more solid. Yeah, it's done exactly what I wanted. So that's what they were, and they've got a big hole under there. And what I've done is filled that hole with high strength rubber, and that will give it a bit more oomph, as it were. That'll give it a bit more strength. So that one's good. It's the same as I did with the gearbox mount, which had gone very floppy, and I filled all the voids in that to give it a bit more strength. Cool. So yesterday we put the camshaft in it. That's rotating. Now we need to put all of the valves and everything into it. So make sure we've got no loitering dust or anything. I mean, I'm no precision engineer, but that's lovely. Okay, let's put some valve stem seals in. The box from Edelsheim. Unlike the last engine, which was slightly newer, this one uses a different valve seal on the exhaust. The cylinder head set that I got for this has got a set of valve stem seals, but these ones are better. These are an upgraded type for the inlets, so we'll use them. So you hear them bottom out. So in all cases I'm making sure that where the tighter coils are is down the bottom. You'd think there'd be something more sophisticated than this, but there isn't. It's been the same way of doing it for 100 years. Right, that's all the inlet valves. So what you've got is a base, then spring goes over the top, then a little hat, then the retainer, a seal goes down inside that, in there, and then the collets go over the top. And the idea is then that when the oil runs down, it can't get down the top of the valve and run down the valve stem. So it's a way of keeping the oil off. How good it is, I don't know. I think I would have actually preferred the other type, but without getting that head machined, that ain't gonna happen. So these were the valve seals that were supplied with the kit. Nowhere near as good as the ones I got from Edelsham, so we used them instead. And these are the exhaust valve seals. They're square. It's like a square O-ring. Well, them seals don't half get in the way. Right, one set of valves. Okay, so if you're a regular or you've caught up on the back catalogue, when I did the oil seals on the original engine, which I did in place, I upgraded the nuts because the originals used a sort of compression nut effectively, so it's like slightly squished, and that slightly squished nut was slightly squished so it doesn't undo on the stud. And I got an upgrade, which were quite expensive, which are like 2-part nuts with a lock nut on them. So that's coming over to this. Yeah, so these are a 2-part nut. It's a conventional stud or a conventional nut, and then a lock nut which screws into the top, which I've just dropped. So you've got conventional nut and then that grub screw goes in the top to lock them in place. Now, we put 2 brand new Tappets in last time, so it seems churlish not to use them. Now, Derek sent me a set, so let's see if they're any better. I've also had a really good idea with some of these spares. Because I've got a spare set of rocker arms coming out of this job. We're going to have a spare set of Tappets. I'm going to vacuum bag them. So I've got a thing for vacuum bagging food. Well, I don't see why you couldn't put those in a vacuum bag, suck all the air out of them, put some oil in there, suck all the air out, and job's a good one. Yeah, if anything, they've got less wear than those. Yeah, they have. Right. Of course, we are going to have to break him into a different cam, but I've got no option there because I'm not going to use that camshaft. Because it won't be as good as this one. So there was two of them Tappets that I didn't use because when I polished them up they still had a mark on them, but I had two new ones and they polished up beautiful. So everything on there has now got a nice shiny face on it. Not sure whether that really makes a difference or not, but probably does. I can't see how it would hurt. So we polished up the mating faces of all of these yesterday. Where I've tried to gap these without the engine running in the past, what I've done is overdone it. So you need to have just the barest pressure on the tappet. Now of course I have a luxury here, I can turn the camshaft without having to rotate an entire engine. I'm going to do it when it's connected to when it's on the crankshaft, and you can crank that via the chain. Because as well, I think it probably needs oil pressure as well to inflate the tappets, because what's happening is the tappet is taking up, as the cam's coming round, the tappet's squeezing, and then it's not got enough oomph to open the rest of the valve. So let's do it when we got some oil pressure in it. So just doing this to get the rubbish out of the threads. Let's get 45 years of oil and crap out of the threads. Gasket set has got one, and we need two. Gasket making classes 7 Newton meters. We done a thing. Just put that on there, just keep it out of the way. That's going to be the final effect. Okay, so let's rebuild the oil pump, shall we? So the first and most important thing is that there's a clearance on the front of this, and if it's too tight, your oil pump burns itself out. And if it's too loose, you don't get a good oil pressure. Right, first things first, we need to make sure that's nice and flat. So, out with the patented sheet of glass. And the answer is, that is beautifully flat. That took all that gasket material off. Lovely. Magic. Right. Oil pump clearance. 0 to 0.1 of a millimetre. We're across the gears. I can get a 0.15 under that. Or is that my dodgy bent rule? I can't get a 0.2. Okay, so they are 0.5 millimetres too proud. Yeah, so what's going to happen is exactly what has been happening, and it's going to score the cover. Okay, that's got the worst of it off. Right, that's that cover nipped up. Let's see if we've got any interference. Me sanding that cover doesn't make any difference at all to this, because that's flat, so me making it flatter doesn't make any difference. It's simply the distance between the edge of the casing and the gears. I think we just send it. Make sure we can still spin it when it's torqued up. Ooh, there's a lot of crap coming out of these threads. I'm not cutting any thread, I'm just chasing the crap out of them, because that way the bolts will go in and I'll get an accurate torque on them. I do like the design where there's an oil pump let's put some spring washers on those, serviceable from the outside of the engine. You could change that oil pump without so much as putting the car on axle stands. Call me a overcautious old sod, but I think the bottom of the oil pump falling out at 70 miles an hour would be really bad. 6 Newton meters. In other words, putting Loctite on it, very good idea. There's not a lot else holding it on. Okay, the pump turns. That's good. Let's have a little look at that pressure relief valve. Okay, and that's the fuel pump delete. Fuel pump timing case 15. Right, front seal. Now your job is to stop oil coming out of the front of the engine. It's not a hard job. See if you can do it. I know you're on an Opel, but try and pretend you're on a proper car. So if you missed the last episode, and if you did miss the last episode, I want a note from your mum. I worked out that a way of refurbing these bushes, or these engine mounts, is by drilling through into the void that's in the bottom of them, like I just have with that one, and then filling them up with this fantastic resin, which is PT Flex 85, which seems to have worked in the other two, is incredibly hard and incredibly sticky. So it makes a polyurethane rubber. I've seen a guy use this on his Mini, and he actually made his own bushes with this. He 3D printed like moulds and then cast them, which might turn into a skill we need, because I wouldn't know where on earth I'd get any suspension bushes for Roy. So what that's doing now is it's working its way down through the holes I just drilled. There we go, and now it's coming up the sides on both sides. That's the void filled. Goes off in 4 minutes and you get an absolutely solid rubber block out of it. Takes 4 minutes to go off. It's starting to get hot already. Goes off in 4 minutes, completely cured in 2 hours. It was 50 quid, but that's 50 quid for 2 litres of it. And them bushes, they are available in Germany, but the 3 bushes that, well, I can't find the rear bush, the axle bush or the gearbox bush at all. And these are 50 quid a throw. So if this gives them a bit more life, yee-haw. So basically what all it's done is it's filled up all the voids underneath, potentially making a firmer bush or a firmer engine mount than factory spec. I think that will just about do us for today. Cylinder head ready to go on. Bush is done. More stuff's been painted in the background as I've been pottering around. We now are at the stage of, as soon as those bearings and rings turn up, we can hone those bores, fit the rings, as in grind them to perfect size, and then we can start putting the short block together. And we've got timing case ready to go on now. We've got a timing chain ready to go. We're getting there, really getting there. I was hoping to make it to Rustival, but I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I'm quite going to get going by the end of the month. Certainly not in a way that I'd be happy to go to Coventry. So I'm just going to take these back and vac pack the ones I don't need for storage. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. Next time, hopefully, we're starting to put that block together.